Hello, duckies and dice fiends. Welcome on in. It is the Chaotic Wholesome Presents Table Talk Show o'clock. I'm Kay. I'm one of your co-hosts, but I'm not here alone. David, who the heck is you? And what the heck is we doing here?
I am trying to find the perfect gif of Dr. Doom show person where, hi, I'm David. And this is the Chaotic Wholesome Presents Tuesday Table Talk Show where every week we talk about TTRPG stuff, how to not get the plague. Unfortunately, a friend of mine is suffering from said plague. He won't be at PAX. You're fine. But how to be a better person, how to be a better GM, how to be a better player, all with a focus on intersectionality and inclusivity so that everybody can have a good time.
And yes, I'm Kay. I'm the other half of this. I will be at PAX Unplugged. Unfortunately, David will not. We've got some other faces in chat who will be. We have Mallory, we have Rex, we have Logan. Thank you all for hanging out. David, Logar the Ogre says he has never conventioned before.
Okay. If you've never conventioned before, the first thing that springs to mind is your feet will fucking hurt.
Get comfy shoes. I don't care if they ugly. Maybe don't wear the Crocs.
Yeah, don't wear the Crocs.
Oh yes, Logar is unconventional. Thank you, Rex. But yes, I'm Kay. David and I do this every Tuesday. You can find us right here, as most of you know. Tomorrow, I will be over at Goblin Cave TV playing Pathfinder 2E, Pact of Extinction Curse, Circus of the Broken Chain, where I play Uenya, the swashbuckling My Little Pony tiefling. We're doing a circus performance tomorrow. It's going to be chaos. And then I'm not streaming Tuesday because I'm heading to PAX. David, will you be streaming Friday?
Yeah, I'll be streaming Disco Elysium Friday, and then starting next week full time, Monday through Friday, I will be doing 11 to 2 Pacific, which means 2 to 5 Eastern programming streams.
Oh,
So
we're actually talking about your programming streams now.
Yep.
Wow.
For those who are around and on the internet during that time of day, you've seen that I've like gone live a couple of times. And it's fair to say that it has been sporadic, but that has been a working up to doing it 5 days a week.
On Friday at 8:30 Eastern, which is 5:30 Pacific. Hey, Gilmore has joined us. Welcome to our third co-host. This is Gilmore, being Gilmore. I will be at PAX Unplugged on a panel, Double Bubble, Toil and Trouble, tarot cards in TTRPGs with some amazing people, including Anya and Cake Teas. Okay, here we go. This is fine. That's exactly what we all wanted. And that will be streamed. It'll be in Mothman Theater, which means it will be on PAX too. So if you are at PAX or you are not at PAX, you can check out the channel or the panel if you so desire. And we will be doing live tarot readings, and I'm bringing my super pretties and all my other super pretties. I'm bringing a lot of tarot decks, y'all. It's a problem. And then, yeah, because that's what we got. Because I'm at PAX. But however, save the date. Save the date, December 17th. We will be doing a thing. It's a really cool thing. I am so excited to be able to tell you all what that thing is. Not today, but soon, December 17th. So, yes. Tips for surviving, for networking, for what to expect, for what to do, for what not to do. First thing, yes, comfy shoes. Comfy shoes, extra socks. Just be ready because you're going to walk a lot. Your feet are going to hurt. Don't wear unbroken in shoes. Especially PAX Unplugged, y'all. PAX Unplugged is large. It is winding. I am constantly lost. Comfy shoes.
I have been to the San Diego Convention Center, where they do BlizzCon. What's the name of it?
Oh.
The one down in Anaheim. The Anaheim Convention Center, the Los Angeles Convention Center, Shrine Auditorium, a bunch of different other venues, and the Las Vegas Convention Center. And I don't care how cute those new pair of pumps are. Don't do it. You're going to hate it.
Or put them in your bag and wear them like when you're going onto the panel, and then do the New York style. Put your comfy shoes back on after.
Yeah,
yes,
if you want to take a picture or then swap into them, and then remember to swap out of them. The number of people that have forgotten to swap back out because it's quote unquote a hassle, and then 4 hours later they're like, why does everything below my belly button hurt?
Yes. Yes, that's a good point, David. I should mention. I have both worked conventions and I have covered conventions as a gaming journalist, and I have just attended conventions for networking and spoken on panels, etc., etc. I can't even tell you how many conventions I have done at this point, but let me put it this way. When I worked at DeviantArt, I helped organize San Diego Comic-Con. We did the Artist Alley, so I was one of the people in charge of all the logistics of, is there going to be carpeting? Is there going to be padding under the carpeting? How is stuff going to be hung? Who gets how big the tables are? Are the chairs padded? So we would do all of that planning. Then we would get to the convention. We would do the preview night, and then we would do all 4 days of the convention with parties after. I I've got some con survival experience.
Yeah.
So,
And Rex says extra socks, change them halfway through your day. Also very good advice. Also, remember that there are electronics everywhere. There are lights and there are PA systems and computers. So there are cables you will not see. They are there. You will feel them under carpets. You will feel them under rugs. You will step on things that are taped down, and very rarely, but it does happen. You will step on an unsecured cable. Be mindful of as you move about. There are things for you to trip on, especially things you can't see for you to trip
on. Speaking of, if you are staying overnight for the convention, especially if you are sharing a room with multiple people, pack a power strip. There's never enough outlets for everyone to charge all their phones, their computer, their Switch. Pack a power strip. That is a personal tip from me to you. Just throw a power strip in your luggage.
Listen, if you are traveling anywhere, if you are getting onto an airplane, bring a power strip, and I'll tell you why. Because you'll never know when your flight will get canceled, because they always overbook the thing. You'll never know when you get bumped to another flight. And
oh my goodness. Herb, thank you for the raid. Hello, everyone.
Hi, Raiders. We are talking about how to survive a convention, whether it be your first or your 100th. Just in honor of PAX coming up and all the people that we know that are going to PAX, we wanted to talk about how to navigate these troubled waters.
Hey, Cypher. So yes, the for those of you who are just joining, the tips we've covered so far: comfy shoes, have the comfy shoes. Bring extra socks. Your feet might get wet. You might have holes in your socks. They might wear out. You're gonna be walking a lot. Bring extra socks, even if it's just to change them halfway through the day. Bring a power strip. Pack a power strip if you're staying in a hotel room with anyone other than yourself, and sometimes even if you're yourself.
And like I was saying, like if you're getting on a flight, because now they have charge stations, well, they'll charge you like $15 or $200 or your entire 401k in order to plug in your phone to the virus machines that they have that charge your things. Oh, the cat flip. I saw the cat flip.
Being a tiny terror.
And if you have your own power strip, you could just go over to the wall, plug into the wall, and then steal the airport's energy. And what's great is what's always hilarious is there's always somebody there with a MacBook who's plugged in. And the number of times I've walked over and unplugged the MacBook, and the person looks at me like I've lost my goddamn mind. And then I plug in the power strip and then plug them into the power strip, and then their face completely changes where they're like, oh, you thought to make this more accessible for other people. And I'm like, yes, us non-MacBook commoners also have devices that need to be charged. And then there are like 2 or 3 people who like move in that general direction. And I'm just like, get in here, plug in, let's go. Plug it in here.
So
yeah. And the bee witching also says 200,000 or 20,000 milliamp external USB battery is $20-$30. Anchor makes a great like lipstick sized, and I know this because I held it up to my lipstick collection, charger, and it's like $12. And even if it's not $12, just pay extra, get the Anchor, and that thing will fill up your phone twice before it dies.
Yes, portable batteries, all of that, extra cables. If you were like, oh, I have one phone charger, pack a second phone charger. Just make your life easy. The small, lightweight things that you can pack extra of, do it. I don't know if the cat can be seen because he's between me and my own camera. So, but the next thing is
just
like,
whiskers. Just an eldritch horror poking up from the depths.
He is an eldritch. He's an adorable eldritch horror, though. Yes. So. And now I'm totally distracted because cat. So we mentioned you're going to be walking a lot. Your feet are going to hurt. Check out panels. Check out lounges. Especially at PAX Unplugged. Like, now, number one, I know for many years I attended conventions and didn't go to a single panel, largely because I was doing journalism at that point. And it's like, I am here to cover the video game and do the interview and then go home and then type as quickly as I possibly can to try to get this out before every other journalist does. But there are really cool panels. And especially at PAX Unplugged, there are things like the PAX Together Lounge where some of my friends, like Herb, like my friend Sweet Rosie B, are running TTRPGs. So if you're like, wow, I am really tired from walking, I am going to go sit and play Thirsty Sword Lesbians run by Herb for 3 hours, and it's going to be great. Thank you for lurking, Cypher. Enjoy. So go check those out. And like, there's so much cool stuff in those lounges too. There's all sorts of swag and like badge. Oh, that's the other thing we need to talk about. PAX Unplugged is not going to give you a lanyard. And if they are giving you one, it's a little crappy, bad one.
They don't have good lanyards?
And it's not just Unplugged, like PAX is in general. I have literally lost my badge because it popped off of the tiny little poopy lanyard that they gave me. So there's still time. You can 2-day delivery yourself a good lanyard. This was supposed to be easy, but then nothing difficult is ever easy. I literally have like this PlayStation one that I just put my PAX badge on because I'm like, this is solid. It's got like metal clips. Good lanyards are important because losing your badge is terrible. It is truly terrible. Welcome on in, Ribbonanza.
Herb says the one thing I forgot was to buy a nice lanyard for this. I might see if Amazon has a cute one, but you can buy a nice one from there from the shop, or some groups will have them for sale.
Absolutely.
Whichever Microsoft Xbox show we went to had a particularly nice lanyard that I still have kicking around.
This was from the PlayStation when they were still doing that. Herb, if you need a good lanyard, I have a really good lanyard, but it's one of the like Nintendo E3 ones, and I would very much like it back. But if you are unable to get a good one for them, let me know, and I will pack one for you. Obviously, I'm gonna run through some of the basic things that you should make sure, even if it's not in the bag that you carry with you on the floor, that you pack because you're gonna want it. Extra masks. If you are masking, please mask. Be responsible, be a good human being, and mask. Aspirin. You might want to pack like some, like, I really like the Pepto-Bismol
tablets. Yeah, the chewables.
Great to just have, like, just in case. Band-Aids, because someone's going to stub their toe, someone's going to catch a finger in a zipper, and someone's going to make themselves bleed. And just being able to be like, here's a Band-Aid. And here's the big one you want, and you will thank me on Sunday morning. Get some throat lozenges. Just find your favorite flavor and load up on some throat lozenges. If you are neurospicy, you might want to pack a fidget toy or two, and you want them to be cheap because you will lose them. Don't bring your super expensive Kickstarter exclusive fidget cube. You will lose it. I have lost so many cool things at conventions.
To tack on to this, another thing that goes.
This has lanyards.
And
Excellent.
They say neural spicy.
I love Take That. In case y'all don't know, Take This is an awesome mental health focused TTRPG focused charity Go check them out and support them. They're great. One of your Bogus Creek Icy Hot is a savior too, says Bewitching.
So, one of the things that whenever I travel, I have, but also specifically for conventions, is I rip off like a dozen paper towels, fold them up, and stick them in a bag.
Mm-hmm.
Have napkins or paper towels or toilet paper or something, because you never know when like you'll need to blow your nose or you'll need to like wipe one thing, and like Kay said, someone might spring a leak and then their inside juice is leaking everywhere. And you want to be able to wipe up the red stuff before it gets on your clothes.
Look, if you're at a convention, something somewhere is going to be sticky. And
right.
You're not going to know what or why or how, and you don't want to know, but you just want the sticky to not be on you. I bought a bunch of those little... yes, travel tissue packs is just what I bought today. I was like, you know what I don't have? You know what I have now? Exactly, Lady Luck.
And you can tailor your own approach to this, but water. Mm-hmm. Every place is going to give you, yeah, your inside juice, because it's aggressively non-specific. But there are places that'll give you a hard time for bringing in like your own like permanent water bottle. They'll give you a hard time for bringing in like little, disposable water bottles. And every venue charges an arm and a leg for, like, when I was at the Las Vegas Convention Center for Final Fantasy XIV, there were big vending machines that sold water for $6 a bottle, mm-hmm. that were empty. And the only ones that weren't empty were the ones that didn't work. And you know how many didn't work? Almost all of them. And so there would be these things packed to the gills with delicious life-preserving water that you couldn't get into because it didn't accept the real money you wanted to give them. Mm-hmm. Yep.
I just want you to know, David, Cypher said she had to cross the room to come back to the keyboard to say "qua" at inside juice.
Yep, that's fair. That's fair. Now, when you will see me at a convention at some point, and you will see that I am not carrying a water bottle. Do not be fooled. Do not be bamboozled. Because I'm the sort of person where I load up on essentials, and then I coast on that for a long time. And so before I leave my house or the hotel room or whatever, I will put down 64 ounces of water, probably more. And then at lunch, I'll put down another 64 ounces of water. That's a gallon for those of us keeping track at home. And then Kay has seen me get back from a convention, sit down on my bed, and then spend the next 2 hours consuming fluids. A lot of that was alcohol, but
that was a night.
Just sucking down fluids. I make sure that I am hydrated. If you don't see me with a bottle, that doesn't mean that I am not full of water, because I just smuggled it into the convention on my inside. Yes.
And Rex brought up the next point: snacks, protein bars, cookies, something that will keep the blood sugar up. I am going to be traveling the convention with little miniature suckers, just so you can have that little sugar pop. Because here's the thing that happens for those of you who don't know the rhythm of a convention. You get there and you start going. And okay, this is at least for me. I've been told not everyone functions this way, but this is how I function. I'm like, we're at the convention, we're going, we're doing this, now we're going here, now we're going to this, and then I will sit down.
Oh, and that's it. That is a wrap.
And it's like, oh no. Oh no, I am so tired. And the only way that Kay is going to get back up off the ground is with a little sugar kick. Just a little sugar kick.
y'all ever one, hi Tav, thank you for coming by.
Oh, hey,
Two,
Tav.
y'all ever hard power off a computer, like you hold the button for 4 seconds, or you just turn off the button? That is K when they are no longer upright post convention. And yeah.
Yeah, especially after when I would do the San Diego Comic-Con preview night, work all 4 days, plus doing parties after. Like we'd end the convention, I'd be like, okay, I am going home. You are not going to hear from me for 2 days. If you think about me during those 2 days, it is too much interaction. I just need you to understand this right now. Which again, hey JD, there is a thing that I want to mention because it is important for everyone to at least know, especially if this is your first convention. There is a post-convention depression that can and probably will happen. This is a normal thing. This is simply what happens because you had all of this stimulation, all of this excitement, especially if you were an extrovert, it can hit extra hard because you just had this hit of social interaction and then there's suddenly none. This is a normal phenomenon. Nothing is wrong with you. The world's not ending. This is a thing that a lot of people feel. They call it the con crash or the con depressions. It is, yes, Take This has an excellent article on con crash. I just, in case, because we did have a couple people say that they're about to go to PAX and it's their first convention. This is a normal thing. It doesn't always happen, but it often happens and it is normal. And often people feel things and they're like, oh, I didn't know there was a name for that. I didn't know that was a thing. So it is a thing. You're good. Okay, from a country that most active TTRP space, ask me how. Yes. PAX specifically has a chill out room if you need it.
Rex that's says. Cool.
Very quiet. Yes, very relaxing if you're getting overstimulated mid-show. And that definitely can happen, especially on the con floor. If you are sensitive to like sounds and external stimuli, because it's usually like bare concrete floors at PAX, and so voices bounce, people are selling, some places are doing music, people are talking. It can very much become like this kind of ocean of background noise that can very, very easily overwhelm you if you are sensitive to that kind of thing. And again, pack something excellent if you can find it where it's small or light. So like I said, I'm going to be wandering around with suckers to give to people, because sometimes if you're feeling a thing, like just that little hit of sweet sugar, and these are mini suckers, so they're not even like the full size. It's just like, here's just a little hit to like get you grounded, get your blood sugar up, get your brain functioning again.
And you won't, and again, you won't see me with snacks, but that's because I've planned to not eat all day, and I have no problem being grumpy at absolutely every person I meet, regardless of how professional I need to be. Like, if the Pope and somebody's parole officer meets me on the convention floor, and I haven't had anything to eat and my energy is dropping, they will get all of the smoke. Consequences be damned. Do not be like me.
And actually, I have taken David to multiple conventions, including making him work E3, and he's very well behaved. So don't listen to him.
I'm only well behaved around Kay, because Kay has that effect on all of us. And something that I do that I haven't really heard other people doing a lot is, so like, if you have some variety of the TISM, then you have a concept of like scouting locations. But for those of us without the TISM, you don't necessarily like plan out things ahead of time. Now, I was raised in a way whereby I always needed to know where the exits were. I always needed to know what sort of people were floating around. And so very naturally, I'll walk into a place and I'll identify three things. One, the exits. Two, the bathrooms. And three, what is the vibe the crowd has. And like, if I go and it's a bunch of palm colored people and they all have brightly colored hair, like purples and blues and greens and what that and pinks, it's a safe place. It is a good place to be. That is where you want to be. If you go and everybody has crew cuts and police boots on, then I'm not going to be there long. But that said, if you can show up early, show up early. Just because, like, the earlier you are on the line, the earlier you get in, the earlier you can scope things out. But the second you get on the floor, yep.
There is a tipping point, because if you get early, but not early enough, you're going to end up in a very long line, which is not great in a cold or a hot location. But if you wait until about an hour and a half, 2 hours after the con floor opens, then you can usually just breeze right in.
Super fair. But also, whether you show up early or not, when you get there, scope out where the bathrooms are and scope out where seating is. Because even being able to, like, find a bench somewhere and sit down, like, helps with a lot of, like, the overwhelmingness of a con. Like, if your legs don't have to be doing a thing. And, Kay will tell you that at E3, there was, like, this lonely hallway on the second floor in one of the halls at the convention center. And Kay would, like, come trucking by because they were on their way somewhere and look over. There's no one around. It's just me there. And they'd be like, "Are you good?" I'm like, "I'm great." Ooh, I describe my haircut as retired cop to my stylist. Or my other way to describe it is once a Marine, always a Marine.
Yes, and Rex pointed out concert earplugs are great.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can still hear people, but it helps block off a lot of that noise. Great tips. I need to hear everything. That is my neurodivergence. I'm like, what's that? So that just makes me nervous. But I know there are a lot of people who are too easily overstimulated. So do what you gotta.
And here's the thing. Like, I was very fortunate. A friend of mine dragged me to a rave, and she was like, "You need these things," and handed me a permanent water bottle and handed me, like, $75 earplugs. They're great. They're amazing. Walgreens, CVS, like any drugstore, sells the cheap ass little foamy, like, it's a pack of 100 and it's like $9 or whatever. Put some of those in a Ziploc bag and bring them with. Do not bring your fancy, like, earplugs, because among other things, those will get lost. Yes. Put them in a Ziploc bag, get the cheap ones, bring them with. They work great for the level of noise that you're getting. You don't have to protect against 120 decibels like a Hanson concert. It's going to be a solid 75 decibels the whole time, but it's going to be a lot of different noise from a lot of different places. So just something that you could just turn it off. Great.
Yeah. Food. We're not talking about snacks, though often, at least for me, snacks are food at the convention. There's usually junk food, chicken tendies, some bad burgers in the area at least in the past years. PAX Unplugged is now unmasked, so I don't know if it's changed, but there were designated eating areas because you were not supposed to take your masks off outside of those designated eating areas. But yes, there's going to be food. It is going to be not great. It is going to be pricey. It's going to be not healthy. Just outside of PAX, there's a whole little indoor marketplace with some really incredible eateries. So plan to either stand in line at the convention and get bad food, or plan to take the time to exit the convention and go hunt food. Plan longer than you think you need for dinner, because everyone is leaving the convention hall at the same time and everyone is hitting all of the things around. Like E3 would have food trucks and all, like there was enough around E3 where you could go and eat with only a minor inconvenience. Not true at PAX. Herb says plan your meals during the day, and if you're planning dinner plans later, make reservations, assuming they will take them. Yes, and expect those reservations to take longer than you want. If you are planning takeaway, again, this is really great if you're rooming with people or if you're planning on doing delivery or takeaway. Get with everyone ahead of time to figure out food restrictions, because the number of we're going to walk to this place, we'll pick up food on the way, and then we'll do the thing that have just not happened because we couldn't find a place where everyone could eat has derailed so many con meals for me. Yeah, plan 2 hours to sit down for dinner. Yes.
One other thing about con food or eating at a convention, like people in chat have said, con food is not great, and it's usually massively overpriced. But like we've all been to a venue before, we know what venue food pricing is like.
Yeah.
I will say this: traditionally, I have an iron stomach. Like I have, look, quote unquote ethnic food has never been and never will be a problem for me. Things that people are like, oh, well, I ate Indian food or I ate North African food. Toughen up, okay? This food that everybody eats. The global majority eats this food. But
David, all they have is wheat bread, and you know I don't eat spicy things.
They put salt on the potatoes. The
There's
audacity.
Some black pepper.
But I have eaten at some suspect roadside diners. And I've gone into said suspect roadside diners and be like, listen, bring me that tuna melt. Put cheese on top of that whole Lord knows how long tuna and put it in front of me, okay? Like, I've eaten a Subway sandwich before. I have eaten some stuff that will destroy your insides. But I don't play around conventions. I eat stuff where I'm like, this is the safe thing for me to eat, this won't. And every single convention, I have some sort of stomach issue. And I will tell you why. It took me like San Diego Comic-Con and like an LA Comic-Con and like one other thing to figure out here's what it is. Being on your feet and being stressed and like just the change and shift in environment to stressful environment all day screws up your gastrointestinal system. Like stuff stops working right on your insides. So plan for that. Know that your stomach will get gurgly or rock hard or something's going to happen to your insides and your liver. No one ever wakes up like the day after a con and it's like, oh man, my stomach feels great. Not a one, right. Never. So know that it's going to happen. Know what, like, you know, your triggers are in addition to like your dietary restrictions, like, you know, you're allergic to blank, but like other things that make you, like pancakes jam me up. You won't catch me eating pancakes at a convention. It's because it's gonna wreck me. So I'm not gonna do it. So keep that in mind, plan for it, and know that you're going to have some gastrointestinal trouble.
So here is Kay's con hack. This is a thing that Kay does whenever Kay has the opportunity because it helps. If you are getting in early, especially if you are looking at splitting with a person or two, book a suite. A junior suite. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, but if you book a suite in a hotel, those tend to come with a decently sized fridge and a microwave. Which means right now in my freezer are a bunch of burritos that Kay made and froze. Those will come with me to the convention, and I have quick food, quick protein, heat it up, don't have to wait. It's available. Because the number of times I'm like, I'm going to have time for dinner today. Nope, I don't have time for dinner today. And I think it's an extra like $40 a night for the suite.
But worth it.
That I'm sharing with 2 other people. So it's, you know, not very much per person. And I am saving that much in food by just bringing a burrito.
Yeah, do not do this if you are crossing international lines, because the border patrol in the United States are a pack of bastards. Don't give them an excuse.
Yeah. But also, you can fly in and then hit. Because when I would go to San Diego Comic-Con, we would take the train from LA down. We'd get in early, we'd drop off our stuff, and then we would hit the nearest grocery store and we would buy the big gallon of water to just have in the room. We would buy, the snacks, and we would just fill up the room with stuff we didn't have to import and run to that freezer section and pick up. It's not going to be as healthy. That's the thing I will say. Do not plan to eat healthy. You will not be eating healthy. If you find time to get a salad, good for you. You're probably not going to want the salad because you're walking and you're probably going to be hungry. And I'm talking hungry spelled with a 0, because you're walking and you're working and you're socializing and you are overstimulated. So give yourself the kindness to eat unhealthy for those days, to just get what is available. And then, David knows this. I finished a convention and I'm like, okay, so what can we get with vegetables? I want to eat nothing but vegetables and just pure protein for 2 days after, to just cleanse my system. So here's the next bit. And I think this is one that's really important to talk about, because this is where things can get bad and or awkward and or wrong for a while, very quickly. I want to talk about the networking and the socializing. And this can both be on the convention floor, and this can be at the hangout places, at the after parties, if you get invited to or stumble into the parties, because I have absolutely stumbled into a party post-convention before. Just, this is where it is. Welcome back, Cypher. So I'm doing protein and veg leading up, as I know my diet will be trash once I get there. Exactly, Rex. So now I am not talking. I want to talk about how to properly behave yourself while chatting with people. And I'm not talking about don't be awkward, because let's be honest, as TTRPGs, most of us are at least a little awkward, right? That's not, but as the incredible Chaos Monarch Gabe Hicks tweeted just the other day, don't walk up to someone and the first thing you say is, can you introduce me to so-and-so? That's Now, what do you say instead? Oh, hi. Again, here's some very simple things. Good. Oh, hey, I like your jacket, pin, lanyard, badge, swag, whatever. Bad thing. Oh, hey, I've always thought you were hot. Probably not the best first thing to come out of your mouth when meeting someone for the first time. Parasocial relationships are a thing. I believe Cypher's on one of the panels about parasocial relationships and you. It is amazing for people to come up and just say, I saw you on this show, or I've always wanted to game with you, or I think that you're a really great performer, or I saw you play with so-and-so and I've always been excited, or that is not weird. That is actually, so long as you don't go, yes, I saw you on the show, and then I found everything you've ever been on, and then I'm really upset because I couldn't find your home address because I wanted, that's where it gets different, right? But hey, I've seen you perform. I've seen the shows that you do. I'm impressed. I think you're cool. I like you, is a good and cool thing. You don't have to feel bad, especially in a situation like this, being a fan. Oh, I have had those situations as well, Cypher. It is a joke, but it is only, it's like the I'm laughing because if I don't laugh, it gets really bad. Again, I am nobody. I am not a person in the space, and people come up to me and are like, oh my God, I loved your thing that you did here. And it's like, you know who I am? Thank you. That's really exciting. So don't be afraid. Just, understand. Don't try to monopolize everyone's time all the time. Likewise, if you are looking at a booth, especially if it is a booth for a small creator, if it is someone handcrafting things, if it's an artist, if it is a small booth that's got like this much space, be conscious of how much space you are taking up while looking or talking to the creator, because those booths cost money. They have to sell things to make up that money. So please try to make space, be conscious, so that other people who are perhaps going to spend money will be able to. And the creator will be so grateful if you're like, oh, I want to talk to you, but you are doing this thing. I'm going to stand over here until you're ready. That is appreciated. It is not a bad thing.
You'd be surprised at how many things you get into and things you become a part of by just going, hi, I have questions, but I'm not going to be in the way. And then you stand and you wait. Because, like, I'm not the sort of person that gets, like, invited to places or, no one looks at me and goes, this person needs to be in here. However, the number of times I have sweet talked my way unintentionally, like, let me be clear, unintentionally sweet talked my way into, like, being involved with things and being, like, led into, like, secret shows and stuff because I was just polite and I was like, listen, I want to ask you this one thing, and I'm just going to not be in the way. Like, I have probably spent a solid 20 minutes with Stan Lee, 100% of that time as a fan, and 90% of that time was I was a fan, and I said something nice to Stan Lee, and then I went and stood. I'm like, by the way, I have a question, and then, like, stood off to the side, and then when things calmed down, Stan Lee was like, hey.
That's how I got my photo. Is I was just like, I know he's having dinner. I'm not going to bother. I'm going to stand here. And if the opportunity arises, I would love to picture, but I'm not going to bother him. I'm not going to look at you. I'm just going to stand here. And they went, oh. And after about 20 minutes of my standing there, like, oh, yeah, okay, come on, cool.
And I've, in my youth and then later in my adulthood, I spent a lot of time sitting off at the side and, like, observing people and studying them and, like, really trying to get to the bones of, like, how could I be a normal person without creeping everyone out? And I will tell you one of the secrets that I should probably charge money for. If you are out in public and you are meeting a bunch of strangers, like the goal today is to just meet a bunch of strangers, and you're in an appropriate venue where it's okay for strange people to walk up and talk to you about things, put together like 3 different questions that you can ask everyone that centers on their interests or what they are doing and care about. If you walk up to somebody at a convention and you're like, hey, what brings you to this convention? And they go, oh, well, I'm with such and such a company, blah, 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 blah. What's the favorite thing that you guys make? And, like, they'll light up, and then they'll be like, oh, this is the cool thing that I'm working on. And then you'll have a normal conversation about whatever that thing is. Yeah. You're a fan of somebody, and, you know, you go up to them and be like, hey, I really liked your work in blank. What was your favorite part of working on that? And then you're not being a weirdo. Be interested in and, like, Kay has, like, a natural ability to just be interested in other people. Like, that's Kay's default.
Interesting.
And so I've seen Kay make friends with a room full of people, and Kay was like, "What do you mean those people have been following me around? Why are they following me?" And it's like, well, because they really, why really? Because you were interested. And there is a way to artificially reproduce at least some of this K effect. And I'm not saying to go into this with, like, ill intentions or to use this advice as a means to manipulate or exploit, but take the approach of be interested in other people, be interested in what they're doing, what they care about, what their interests are, and at the very least, you won't be a turbo weirdo.
And we say this K effect patent pending. We say this anytime we talk about trying to recruit players, be it for an actual play, a charity game, a whatever. No one, you are entitled to no one's time. So being at a convention, most people are there to meet people. They're happy to talk. They're excited to say hi. But as we talked about, like, don't try to dominate someone's time. If you have been talking to someone for 20 minutes and they keep looking behind you, there are probably other people waiting to talk to them. No one owes you their time. And especially, and I say this as a femme presenting person who has been in very creepy situations, who has helped other people deal with very creepy situations. Having a conversation with someone doesn't mean you are automatically friends. Doesn't mean you are allowed to DM them all the time. I have friends, and I have confirmed at this point that we are friends. There are people in the TTRPG space who I learned to play TTRPGs because I watched them in their actual plays. And I was like, that person is incredible, and I want to play games like them. And then I ended up playing games with them. And then I ended up playing another game with them. And then we ended up like chatting just through Discord. And it's that moment of like, are we friends? Is this a professional thing? I'm not sure where it is. And over the years, like, it's like become obvious that, oh no, it's friends. But I personally am so hyper aware and worried about being the parasocial relationship person. Like, I don't want to push my understanding of this relationship onto someone else. So I say this because there was a situation recently in the gaming industry where a woman spoke to a fan before a panel, talked about something, short conversation, was cool. She then went and spoke on a panel about about women in gaming, respecting boundaries, all that sort of thing. And then received multiple emails after from this guy, like, we had such an instant connection, and I felt like every word that you were saying on that panel was to me, and you made eye contact with me so many times. And she's like, I didn't even know you were in the audience, bro, and now I'm being stalked because you imagine. So keep in mind that everyone at a convention except for David is going to be very nice, be very outgoing, be as kind as they can be. And that does not mean that you are not friends but don't assume relationships past a certain point. Assume there is a professional or one-sided, I don't even want to say one-sided, assume there is a friendship with a distance, right? Assume there is like an internet friendship. That internet friendship does not entitle you to their time, their home address, anything like that. Regardless of how they present, regardless of your or their sexuality, just give it that space. And it also doesn't entitle you to a spot on any of their actual plays. Let me just throw that out as well.
Also, fellas, it's not where you go to pick up chicks. And I know, like, our crowd is not. Thank you very much for the sub.
Oh.
Thank you, Cypher. I am pleased to say that we have cultivated a community of, as far as I know, people who are well behaved. But the number of times I've been out with Kay at an industry event, whether it be like a gaming journalism thing or something related to whatever company she's working for at the time, and I've been like, that guy, that person over there. And Kay is like, mm-hmm. Also, like, Kay and I have mastered I look at Kay and I'm like, is this a problem? And Kay is like, this is fine. Or Kay is like, this is not fine. But, like, one, it's not a place for you to, like, pick up a romantic partner. Like, and I'm not going to go
Now,
into how you go about picking up a romantic
it
partner.
it can and has happened at a convention, but don't go in with that being your
Yeah,
primary goal
that's
or
that's
expectation.
it's not where you're trying to do it. The other thing is this: is that all sorts of conversations between people who know each other are happening,
Mm-hmm.
even if words aren't necessarily are being spoken.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like I've seen people over the course of like a 3 hour party turn into persona non grata because a bunch of people shared a look around this
Mm-hmm.
person and then everybody knows this person is not okay.
Yeah.
Um,
We talked about this earlier before on other episodes, but like I have been with another person who looks like me and then a third person who looks like David, who all three of us working together. And then someone who looks like David comes up and starts talking in a very distinct way to the person of color we're with. And the person of color like tenses up, looks at the person that they're with, and then at them. And all of a sudden, they're both speaking much more white.
mhm.
And then that guy leaves, and the white person is like, that guy was weird, right? And it's like, oh no, you are not trusted. You are not trusted. So there, if you don't know how to read social cues, if you don't know what those things look like, other people do. So just when in doubt, give space.
Yep.
And yes, we
Give
do also have to talk about physical boundaries.
yeah, give space and be on your best behavior, and also like my personal, and I'm not going to put this on like the rest of you, but like personally, when I leave the house, when I step outside into public, I am at least baseline responsible for everyone because I have a just certain amount of like ability to do things. Like I'm physically strong, so if something heavy falls, I'm going to be the one to pick it up. Um, and so, you know, I go out into a convention floor or at an event, and I'm like sort of keeping an eye out for anyone who might need a thing. Um, and so I'm not saying that you personally have to be responsible for everyone, but I will say at times take a moment and look around and just see how people are feeling. Get a sense of what the energy is like. And if you have spare brain power, like try to just keep track of the vibe because even just walking up to someone and being like, "Hey, how you doing?" when someone's in their face like blah blah, blah can diffuse that situation.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, like Kay said, there are tons of people who like need stuff, like you know they need like a tissue or they need a band-aid. One of the best things that I've seen at both Comic-Con and Ren Fair is there are now groups of people that have repair stuff for cosplays.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have needle and thread, they have spackle, they have tape, they got scissors and all that. And they will walk around and they will do on the spot repairs for people. And that grew out of someone seeing, oh, this person had their ankle strap break on a thing. Um, so if you could be mindful of the needs of others while you're out in the world, um, even just being physically nearby to help someone is
Mm-hmm.
a big thing.
And yes, Herb says check-ins are great. Sometimes all it takes is eye contact and the X, okay, thumbs up, thumbs down system. Yeah, I have 100% been in a situation where I'm like, I don't think this person is bad, but I am not sure. I cannot get away. And I've just like walked up to a group of people and been like, hi, I really need you to talk to me right now because there's someone who's being a bit of a problem. And most people, like 99% of people at conventions will take care of each other. Also, if you are femme, especially, buddy systems are great. Do that. I had many sewing kits with me at cons, says Lady Luck, before in case of random cosplay needs. Yes, I travel with huge safety pins just in case someone needs it. Um,
And
so,
and before we move on to physical things, if you are traveling with a group, like especially if you guys are all staying at the same dwelling, apartment, Airbnb, whatever, or like you're part of a crew or whatever. Ahead of time, figure out a rally point. Figure out my phone is dead. I don't have any internet connection. I don't have, because we are in a world where I know tons of people that I am very close to, and I do not know their phone numbers. Their phone numbers, not only do I not know their phone numbers are not programmed into my phone, because I talk to them on Discord. I talk to them on WhatsApp. I talk to them on Signal. I talk to them on internet-based. The internet at these places is crappy, and there's always one douchebag who's trying to live cut and upload something to YouTube. Like right there, just sucking up all the up bandwidth. So have a rally point, have like JD says, we always split up for a few hours and set a certain time to meet back. Have a way that if your phone doesn't work, you can at least find each other.
Yeah. And yeah, Cypress says, get a code word that you can use or text each other if you need an out. So yes, physical stuff. So first off, this is a not masks required convention. If someone is wearing a mask, please don't ask them to take their mask off for photos. If they're wearing a mask, they're wearing it for a reason. Most people now, I know David gave me a little bit of heat for it, but like we have like little like about us. Like most people are like, hugs are cool if you ask, right? I'm down for hugs. Don't hug me and pick me up and carry me off. That's happened. It's not fun. But ask for hugs, right? Most people are okay with it. In fact, I have been, again, so we talk about what are these like relationships, and I've watched this person and I know who they are. They don't know who I am. So I'm going to walk up and say hello and introduce myself. And this happened last year to someone that I really, really admire. I was like, I'm going to walk up to this person. I'm going to introduce myself, tell her the things I've seen her on and that I really admire her. And I walked up and she spun around and said, Kay, oh my gosh, can I hug you? And was like already going. And it was like, I didn't know I existed and you know my name and you recognize me with a mask. So again, you never know where these relationships are going to fall. It's really exciting when it's great. Ask for hugs. If someone doesn't want a hug, respect it. I still, out of habit, because I am Southern AF. I will still stick my hand out to shake your hand. I can't stop that. That's turned off. Most people aren't doing handshakes anymore. A lot of people are doing like fist bumps or like elbow taps, the chicken wing. And that's great too. Most people, chicken wing. Most people, from my experience, are absolutely down to take photos. In fact, I have the coolest photo of I ran into Mark Meir and I was like, I really love what you do and I love Black Dice Society. And Mark was like, oh, great. Thank you. Can I take a photo with you? And I'm like, so don't be afraid to ask for photos. And if they say no, just it's cool. Herb says, I've turned the handshake motion into a wave high because it's hard to burn those manners, right? It's like,
and I've come from an extended family that I am not necessarily a fan of. And if any of my relatives eventually track down this video and watch it, you either know what you did or you should know what you did.
Yes.
We can have a conversation about it. But it is a repeated trope of that auntie or uncle that goes, oh, where's my hug? Or, or like going up and like, kissing a toddler, kissing a young child. And it's like, yeah, you were technically blood related, but what precisely does that mean other than an accident of the universe and a couple of straight people making a mistake? And so, like, I grew up seeing a lot of that. So you'll see me out in public, and I won't try to hug you. I won't try to shake your hand. I won't try to, like, come into, like, your bubble or, like, touch you. And also, like, I've been a man my whole life. Like, I've seen what my people do. I see what men do. I'm not gonna do that. It's awful. It's grotesque. It's a crime. It is assault. Um, that does not mean that I am not huggable. More than one person has been like, "You look warm. Come here," because I'm freezing, and I'm like, "That is a fair assessment." Um, but like, if you have like desire for those things, like Kay said, like like say something, but to be clear, you don't need to do those things to form like actual um like real connections with people, because like a lot of us have all met on the internet, um and a lot of people have never been in the same meet space and are great friends.
Mhm.
And yeah, like that doesn't necessarily like if you feel like you're missing something, or it's not like you're not getting the connection that you want, like just be nice and keep going. And also, no one
Yes.
has to like you. Precisely, no one has
Yes.
to like you. No one has to give you time. No one has to give you space. No one has to give you anything. Like the only thing someone has to give you is the finger, and that's it.
Yes. Cypher says, y'all are actual IRL friends. If anyone tries to use me as a heater, they just gonna freeze. And Lady Dex says, just because someone else gets to hug someone doesn't mean you get one. And yes, that is also, especially if you were around asking for hugs, put on deodorant that morning. Just take a shower either the night before or that morning and put on some deodorant, because
Look, I wasn't gonna bring it up because we've all heard the cursed anime convention stories. But two things. Um, One, whether you think or know that you stink or not, like I'm a gigantic man. I'm a big old oven. I secrete fluids all day, every day. So you could catch me in the bathroom with an industrial belt sander trying to get that stuff off. Okay. But even if you are a person who like doesn't smell, even if you have good hygiene habits, keep in mind that by hour 8, by hour 10, by hour 12, you are not freshly showered, and the people that you're interacting with are not freshly showered. So one, don't like be mindful of that. I keep deodorant in my con bag, um, but but also like be gracious to others, because like you'll see somebody come off stage off of those hot lights and they'll just be a puddle under their clothes, and it's like there's nothing they can do to avoid that. And if they're anything like me, they kind of feel ways about that, and it's
yeah.
not feeling great.
The number of times I've seen someone who just did a thing, right? Maybe they got up and did a bit, but they have done some level of physical exertion and are sweating. And someone's like, "Can I have a hug?" And they're like, "I am gross and sticky." They're like, "I don't care." And I'm like, "That person does." If they say I'm
Yep.
gross, that means I am having, this is not a you thing, this is a me thing. Like, ugh. um, but yes,
and
so
and also like people in cosplay. You find somebody in like a Bayonetta outfit, or find somebody in like a Transformers ultra a Space Marine, like one of the big enclosed things. There's a puddle in there. You want nothing to do with it. Trust me.
and also if you see someone with a really fancy and intricate one, even if
Right.
you know them, they're probably not going to want to hug you, because look, cosplay is is what do artificers do? Cosplay is alchemy. It
Yes.
is magic and science combined. They are breaking the rules of physics to imitate a drawing. Be respectful. Yes, and as Bewitching says, latex never breathes. But a thing that Lady Luck said, just because someone else gets a hug, or someone else gets invited to a thing, or someone else gets given a trinket, doesn't mean you get one too. You do not necessarily know who these people are meeting. And maybe you look at this person, I'm so excited to meet Cypher. And this is my first time meeting Cypher. And I'm so excited to talk to Cypher. And Cypher turns and gives a hug to someone that I don't know. And I'm like, that person's never been on an actual play with Cypher because I've watched all the actual plays Cypher's been on. You don't know if that's someone huge in Cypher's community. You don't know if that's someone Cypher is a family member to. You don't know who that person is. So don't be like, but that person, because you do not know who that person is. You do not know these relationships. And that's true. But I mean, me from the outside it might not be a random person to you, but to me from the outside might be a random person. So, keep in mind that you don't, as much as you may be a super fan, you don't know everything about that person. Parasocial relationships. Watch the panel.
I remember once at Labyrinth, I figured out that someone was poly, and hi, Lauren, welcome. That someone was poly, and that their whole polycule was there meeting for the first time by just standing back and watching. So I'm like having a conversation with someone, and it's a poly guy, so like he's tall, he got a ponytail. Not all poly dudes look like that, but the poly dudes at Labyrinth that I personally have met look like that. And one woman comes up and like almost tackles him with a hug, and then another one, and then another, and then like 5 women later, he like turns and looks at me. He's like, "Oh, by the way, I'm poly," and I'm like, "You don't say."
I had no idea.
Never guessed. And later that night, I saw a woman who was very attractive, who wanted to make a run at him, and was like, "Hey," and they like started like touching on him. He was like, "Hold on." And the very situation that you're talking about happened, where it's like, well, all these other women were hanging all over you. What? Am I not good enough? And it's like, well, I'm not dating you. Like we're not doing the whole romance thing. Like we haven't courted each other. We don't have that kind of connection. And now we're not gonna.
Also, yes, Lauren on YouTube says top 10 anime plot twists. No, you may not court me, madam.
Right.
And hello, Lauren. Also, I'm going to say this. This is true for PAX. This is true for any convention. A lot of hanging out and networking happens at venues that serve alcoholic beverages. I am of the belief that to drink or not to drink, that is up to you. I will fervently defend your right to have a cocktail if you so desire, so long as you are not intoxicated to a point of harming yourself or anyone else. I will also fervently defend your right to not drink, and you do not have to explain to me or anyone else on this green earth why you do not want to drink. It can be religious, it can be personal, it can be health. Do not drink if you do not want to. Do not pressure anyone else to drink. And if you see anyone trying to pressure someone into drinking, side with the person who doesn't want to drink. Just take that pressure off, because it is wild enough at a convention, and for some people that cocktail lubricates and helps them socialize, and for some people the idea of being in a room full of people drinking is terrifying, and it's taking everything they can do to just be there after already spending all day at a convention. So don't be a jerk.
One of the many reasons that Kay is one of my favorite people, and this is shared by also my writing partner and my business partner, is Kay is one of the few people who has cracked a bottle of alcohol and gone drink for drink with me and not perished in the attempt. And Kay and I have been out at a convention, at work functions or whatever. And depending on how long we're going to be there, and like, I will have 1 or 2 drinks, never more than 2. Not that I get like, ungovernable when I've had more than 2 drinks, but like, I treat it like work. And the first time it happened, I'd finished my second drink, put it down, and then Kay was like, "Do you want another one?" I was like, "Nope." And she was like, "Okay." And that was the last time we had a conversation about it. And like later on, like, you know, Kay, we were talking casually, and I was like, by the way, this is why. And Kay was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But the people who get super smashed and then get sloppy, ooh wee, and no, someone else shouldn't tell them to stop. They should tell themselves to stop. And if they can't tell themselves to stop, they shouldn't start drinking in the first place.
Well,
Uh,
and I also want to point out that after you have been at a convention all day walking, it is physically and emotionally, like socially exhausting already. You've probably not eaten a lot or not eaten well. You are certainly a little bit dehydrated because no one drinks the amount of water they're supposed to at a thing. So those drinks can hit you faster than they usually do while you're at a convention. Be aware, take care of yourself, take care of your friends. And as Rex says, if you have any suspicion that your drink has been messed with, code word, call your friends, get help, get out of there. And again, I don't care, male, female, anywhere in between. I don't care your sexuality. You do not have to accept a drink from anyone.
Also, fellas, and I have a whole rant about how, despite all of the illegal paraphernalia I've seen over the course of my life, I have never seen one of those like roofie drugs in person. I don't know where they come from. I don't know how to get it. Like, just no frame of reference. But look at me. I've been roofied. Someone roofied me. For what reason? I don't, because they weren't going to rob me because I didn't have any money. So if I've been roofied, then pretty much like everyone you know, especially like every like woman or femme presenting person you know who has done any time drinking, someone has either tried or successfully roofied them at some point. If you're anywhere with open containers, with open glasses, keep your head on a swivel. Look out for other people. This is where you are responsible for other people. Mm-hmm. If you suspect someone's been roofied, if someone who can hold their liquor gets like 20 minutes in and they're falling over sloppy, or they've thrown up on themselves, mm-hmm. That's real bad.
Yep. And yes, all sorts of, don't mess with drinks if you didn't see it get made. Again, don't buy people drinks. Ask people, can I buy one? Can I get the next round? Again, usually it's always good to do that without the expectation that someone's going to do it back for you. JD says someone brought a bottle of vodka to a party thinking they'd get girls. One guy ended up drinking most of it and got in a knife fight in his Jeep and lost. Yeah. Just
and at any sort of professional event, whether it is a comic convention, anime convention, an industry party, anything that's put on by like a branded thing, anything where it's like you're not headed to the dude's house for the kickback, treat it like it is a professional event. Because I live in Los Angeles. I've lived in Los Angeles all my life. Not all my life, but most of my life. And the number of times where I've run into somebody at something that's totally, completely different, and they're like, and it's Spider-Man meme where it's like I'm pointing at them and they're pointing at me, and it's like, how are you here? Or the stories that I've heard of people who are like, I was working on this production in Romania, and that I was working on this production in Canada, like in Vancouver, and I met the same people. Like, every community is a small community, and you'd be stunned at the amount of overlap that there is.
Yes.
Like I went to high school where like the whole population was 100 people, and out in the wild, halfway across the country, I've met people from my high school. This is 100 people every 4 years. So like, conduct yourself with some air of like professionalism including like your alcohol consumption, because you never know who you're going to meet, and you never know who that person is, or who that person knows, or how that will reflect back on you.
And speaking of, I'm also going to say TTRPGs is a really small space. You are, especially at a place like PAX, you are so few degrees from so many people. So just make sure you've got some respect in your mouth. If you're going to be out there trash talking any given performer, any given person who's known, odds are it's going to get back to them. Just be aware. If the only story you can tell at a socializing event is how much you hate this one particular person, maybe don't tell stories. Maybe just ask questions.
And I will be the last person to say don't have a negative opinion about someone. The last person on earth. Because ooh-wee am I full of smoke and fire and cinder and brimstone. But do what I do. If you got a problem with somebody, go find them at whatever professional event, and they'd be like, hey, you did this thing. That was my friend. We got a problem. Anything short of that, like Kay knows, I've got smoke for people. I've got smoke for some people in the TTRPG community. And none of you know who I'm talking about. There's a reason why. But when I see them out in these streets, they're going to hear about it.
Yes, curious. You can absolutely talk about how great people are. And in fact, if you're talking to someone and they're talking about doing a thing that sounds like the same kind of cool thing that your friend is doing, talk up your friend. Introduce people. Hey, Zykrim. Act like you would at a holiday party and your boss is in earshot. Because we're all going to be within 1 degree of working with each other someday. Correct, Herb. Exactly.
And the other thing is this, is that words are free. I mean, at this point, my words are approaching not free, but that is a whole different conversation. But words are free. And so you can say 10 words about how ugly someone's Crocs are in sport mode. Or you could say 10 words about how cool their D20 socks are. So, like, if it's the same amount of effort, it's just the world is tough enough. The world is not fair. The world is mean. The world is full of bad things happening. No one obligated you to put more bad stuff in the world. No one was like, listen, if you don't go out there and be a holy terror, then the cat gets it. So think about the words that you're going to give away for free and the impact that they're going to have on the world, especially if you've been drinking.
And yes, again, so what are you going to talk to about a person that you admire? Well, I famously am not the biggest fan of rules light systems. I play some, I enjoy them for one-shots, but rules light, not my favorite thing. I am not going to go hunt down the creators of Powered by the Apocalypse at a convention and rant at them about how this is not my favorite system. That is not the way to build a bridge, right? That is not the person you want to be. And again, David gave some excellent advice before, which is like, oh, if I'm in this space, if I'm talking to someone and I'm excited and I am a fan and I'm worried if I'm going to make an ass of myself, what do I say so I don't just tell them, hey, so in that one actual play, you rolled this instead of that when you were supposed to do that. Like, how do I not be the Star Trek guy, right? How do I not be the Star Trek fan at the Q&A? Ask them questions. When in doubt, just be like, I really love this character. How did you create him? Because people love to talk. And I guarantee you 9 times out of 10, if you do that, the person will be like, oh, thank you. I did da-da-da. It came to this, da-da-da-da-da. Have you played this? Or have you played this system? Or how long have you been watching? And they will turn the question back around on you if they have the time, energy, and or spoons to talk to you at that moment. So that is a great way to just test the water. Ask them a question about them. Don't ask them what color their underwear is. Don't ask them any weird things, right? Don't ask the boxers or brief questions. Just ask them a question about something that they have talked about publicly. Yes, there are apps for that. Exactly.
And there has been content that I have observed that I didn't like because I've moved in.
I don't know about the non-queer people, Herb. I think it might be Tinder, but I'm not sure.
The non-queer people have apps, but there's a lot more barriers to. But don't worry, the straights have their own fuckery too. Like someone in a TikTok was like, "Are the straights okay?" The answer is no. No, they are not. But I've had the privilege of showing up to like screenings with film industry people, and I learned something very important, and I'm definitely bringing that to TTRPGs, where there are TTRPGs that I've interacted with, whether it be like actual plays or systems or whatever, that I wasn't particularly fond of for one reason or another. And there are always two things that I think about whenever I'm like deep in this is gross, I don't like it. One, someone put a lot of work into this. And I have a lot of respect for someone who stood in the arena and fought the fight and did the things and put it out there. Like there's a whole lot of like mental and physical energy that goes into that.
Everyone thinks they can write a novel, but how many people actually write the novel?
Ooh, don't even. Ooh, Kay,
I know.
Yeah.
Nope. Stay focused. Stay focused. Back in.
One, someone put a lot of effort, and so I have a lot of respect for them for that. And two, the God damn, you see, I got you put that by. Good job. I will come back to it.
Things that you bring to the TTRPG space from being at screenings and Hollywood things with people or things you didn't like.
Yes. And the other thing is, whatever I learn, like there's always something that can be learned from that experience. There's always something that can be learned from, like, I learn more about what good writing is, what a good TTRPG system looks like, what a good movie is like, by looking at the bad stuff. And I have walked up to people who have made things that were outright garbage. I talked to people who worked on Blade 3, okay? And I looked at them and I was like, I learned so much about filmmaking from your hard work. And guess what? You learn, like for one, they appreciate it. For two, you get such a big positive experience. And then most importantly, like, you gain further depth of knowledge, because you'll see a movie that you don't like where the costume designer or the set designer or like a Foley person is just the most brilliant person walking God's green earth. And then you'll be like, oh my God, all of these really cool things went into this absolute dumpster fire. And you gain this appreciation for it that you didn't have before.
And so again, going back to asking questions, and I don't know if Cypher's still in the chat, but I know this will make Cypher very happy. Most of these panels have a Q&A at the end, and those are actually for questions. Q&As are not for you to stand up and tell the story about your tabletop adventure or talk about the system that you are designing. You can absolutely walk up to the mic and say, I'm working on a system, I'm having trouble. Can you tell me about how you came up with blank? This is also what I use for if there's a system I don't really enjoy and I'm talking to the person who created it. It's like, what inspired you to do this, right? Ask those questions. Ask questions. Don't don't stand up and be the, okay, so on page 73, you said it was this, but then in the actual play, you said it was this instead. Don't be that person. You're not going to be a hero. You're not going to put anyone in their place. No one's going to be embarrassed but you. You'll feel very smart, but I promise you, no one else is going to think you're smart.
One of my favorite moments that I saw on video from a con was somebody came at Kevin Smith, and Kevin Smith been a tubby bastard his whole life, and he grew up in New Jersey. If you think you're gonna outsmoke Kevin Smith, you are mistaken. And so some asshole gets up, says something stupid on the microphone. I don't remember what. And then they cut off his mic. And then Kevin Smith pulls his out of the thing, gets up, and starts pacing back and forth on the stage, tearing this human being down, just grinding him down to nothing. And then at the end of it, he's like, and this is why you don't argue with the person with the microphone. And like you could hear that dude yelling because his mic was off. And it didn't matter because Kevin Smith, New Jersey's own Kevin Smith, was grinding him to dust. And it was satisfying. But also, don't put anyone in a position to have to Kevin Smith you.
Yeah. And again, as we said before, we are all like 1 or 2 degrees of separated. If you... And I'm not saying, like, look, hey, Ezekiel, welcome on in. I'm not saying... Sometimes you'll get up to a mic, you'll have a question in your mind, and then you just... How many times have David and I lost words on this? I'm not talking about you walk up to someone and you're like, hi, Holly, I'm Holly. Like, I'm not talking about that kind of awkward. That is fine. It's a convention. I walked up to someone who I have known on the internet for the better part of a year at that point. We have been on calls. We have played together. We were going to be playing together later that year, later that month, actually. I walked up to them and I'm like, hi. And they started like introducing themselves and I'm like treating me like I don't want to say treating me like a fan, but you know, was like, oh, this is a fan interacting with me. And I'm like, I am so-and-so, right? We worked together on blank, and their face changed immediately. And they were like, I am so sorry. It's like, no, don't be sorry. It's a convention. It's the end of the day. We're all overwhelmed. At this point, we were all masked. Like, I'm not talking about that kind of awkward. If you are I am going to put this person in their place kind of awkward, it is going to be known and it is going to be spread, whether you realize it or not. So just, again, to borrow the phrase, which is very not from my culture, just put a little respect in your mouth. Just keep a little respect just tucked under your tongue. It's going to do you a lot of good. It's going to do you a lot of good.
And if being a good person for the sake of being a good person is not enough of an encouragement for you, like it's not enough of a motivator, also, in addition, remember that actions have consequences. And like Kay said, it's a very small community. And in every, like, especially like in every like entertainment community, or like, you know, in competition spaces, like you watch a fighting game tournament, they're all bros. They all know each other. Mm-hmm. They all like kick it, which is why there was some like Smash Summit where everybody was like at a house, and the cooler video, like the cooler live stream, was after the competition was over and everybody was just hanging out because they're all friends. So like it's very easy to like get on the outs, and once you're on the outs, that's kind of it.
Yes. Mr. Live Producers in the chat, if you see our redeems, we have the Pathfinder 2E redeem that will actually summon a Pathfinder party. That is all legit. Mr. Live Producer coded that for me because
I'm gonna click on it awesome. Right
now. But yes, so it is a little bit late for this particular PAX, but if you are eager to exchange information with people, business cards are excellent. Get you some business cards. Do not try to give someone your phone number. Do not try to get someone. I mean, okay, here's my Twitter. You can follow me, is fine. It's a little pushy, but it's generally fine. But do not, especially, hand them your phone and tell them to put a phone number into your
Right.
phone.
Yeah.
Like, again, it's a little late to order business cards, but those are great and safe. If you have a QR, some people just get a QR code that will go to a website with your contact information. That's also great. But yes, give them your information. Most people have cards and will gladly give you that in return. But yes, do not be demanding phone numbers. Do not be demanding follows. Do not. It is one thing to say, I'm going to run a charity game. Do you play charity games? Would you be interested in being in it? It's one thing to say, I would love to work with you. I've got a project in mind that I think you'd be great for. It's a completely different thing to say, you should cast me in one of your games. Especially as that usually comes with this kind of intensity.
Yep.
But yes. Hey, I really admire what you do. You're a great performer. I'd love to work with you sometime. Everyone's generally happy to have that conversation. But yes, do not ask them to put in a phone number. And it's really awkward to be like, give me your phone. I'm going to put a phone number in. What else are you going to do with my phone? I don't want to hand you my phone. COVID's still a thing. I want to hand you my phone.
Yeah. I was about to say, I was like, phones are also like vectors for disease. Phones are filthy. They're filthy. Especially if a kid is like, hey, you have any games on your phone? I don't care how many games I have on my phone. I'm not going to give my phone to you, you little plague doctor. And Mr. Life Producer brings up a very good point. Make a QR code with your like to your Twitter page, to your Linktree, to your whatever. And the other thing is that like there are a lot of behaviors that lead to dangerous situations. Like things that lead to stalking leads to worse things. Like they're even like public figures who I think are assholes who've also had trouble with stalkers and with crazed fans, and despite them being assholes, I still feel bad about them because no one should have to, well, very few people should have to deal with it. Listen, Dick Cheney could get whatever happens to him happens. But just because you know that you won't engage in these like dangerous practices, just because you know that you won't roofie someone, doesn't mean that it's okay for you to behave like someone who is going to do these things. Right. Like, make sure that you're not doing the things that ping other people that say, hey, this person's about to blank. This person's about to get way too close. Like for instance, like the in your face, like talking too close to you thing is sometimes attributed to people with autism. I think, don't quote me on this, attributed to ADHD. And that doesn't mean that you're a psycho, but it is something that psychos do. And so like, even if you're
like
just
that language, we're not using, no, it's
true. Fair. It doesn't mean that you're a dangerous person. It doesn't mean that you're the worst. But even something as simple as like realizing that you're like too animated and too close and then taking a step back gives the other person a sign that's like, hey, yes. I'm not this person. Right. So don't, in addition to not doing the bad things, don't do the things that look like they're leading up to the bad things.
And even, again, I talked about it earlier, be aware as you can about your space, because David knows I'm an animated talker. I'm a storyteller. If you've ever seen me perform on a live play, my arms are everywhere. I have to not do that because at one time we were having a beer Friday at work and your friend here spilled someone else's beer onto a third person's laptop because of gesticulation.
pain.
It's really easy to smack someone on the convention floor at the bar after. So just, be careful. Yes, and it's very easy to move suddenly and frighten an herb.
Yeah, and like I've said, and people who've met me in person know, like I'm very chill about my personal space. Like I'm very quick to assert like, okay, you are too close. Okay, this is happening. I don't like it. Not everybody is like that. Most people will give you way more social grace than I will, because your average person doesn't. Thank you for coming, Ribbon. Like very few people actively seek out conflict with strangers.
Yes.
Like we humans are social creatures. We don't do that. And so, picking up social cues, or knowing that if you don't pick up social cues, being extra mindful of the things that you do, paying attention to what other people are doing, or how other people are feeling. Like all of that goes into being well behaved, not just, well, I didn't roofie her drink.
Right.
Like the bar isn't that low.
So, we are even overtime a little bit because there's a lot to cover for conventions. Like this is a big topic. We actually stayed mostly on topic, but this is the final call. Chat, do you have any final things that tips, tricks, warnings, anything that you would, like for other viewers or anyone who finds this VOD after the fact to know about surviving convention?
Lady Luck says, oh, and semi-related to the earlier point regarding waiting to talk to people, etc. Being conscious not just of your body, but your gear, bags, etc., and the space you take up. The number of times that I've put my hand on someone's gear bag and then they flinched and freaked out, and then I looked them very close in the eye, and I was like, I bet you there's $10,000 worth of like lenses in there. Mm-hmm. There's some very expensive, like very important. So please move it out of the way before I move it out of the way.
Yeah.
And not everybody's going to do that. So.
Yeah. Be conscious of you, of others. I had someone, I was pushed forward in a crowd once and shoved into a child. And the mother turned around and was like, did you just shove my child? And I'm like, I am noping out of this right
now. And the other thing is that, like, also, like, give space to people who have stuff. Like in that particular example, it was a professional photographer who, again, probably had $10,000 worth of lenses. But also, you see people with cosplays, and a lot of people are either there by themselves, so they're hauling like a bag of cosplay stuff with them, or they're there with like a minder who's a friend of theirs who's hauling a bunch of stuff. Or like, there's a big spear or scythe or whatever. Like, make an effort to like not be up in their space, because I know plenty of people who have done those sorts of things, some of them even professionally, and have really tried to not be in people's way, and then people just keep like going and like kicking the dragon tail, or like, just being extra close to them, and it's like, bruh, I'm decked out in all this stuff. I need like a solid 4 feet. What are you doing?
Yeah. Yes, Irv has a great one. You won't be able to visit all the museums, the National Mall, or all the stalls at the convention on your first day, if it's first convention, man, up the other things you want to do. I will also add on to that. Plan to make a run through of the stalls, like go through all the vendor before you start buying. Because I know too many people who go in and they see like, oh, I want that, oh, I want that, oh, I want that. And then like 6 I want that's later, they find the thing that they really want and they can't afford it because they've just bought all this other stuff that was nice, but it's not the thing that they want. So look first, figure out what you really want, because stuff's still gonna be there. I promise you stuff's still gonna be there. I promise. Yes, Lady Luck says snack packs. You can have little things to munch on and share, granola bars, and they don't take up a lot of bag space. I am also a big fan of, especially when I was working conventions, I would get those little like boost drinks, like those like liquid, and because then you throw it back. It doesn't taste great, but it fills you up. You've got your protein, you've got your energy, and you can keep going.
A thing I won't necessarily recommend to anyone else, but you will never catch me without, is I always have gum. I grind my teeth, and I'm a very tense person, and I keep confusing them with poppers. Listen, I don't know the last time you cleaned a VHS tape, but you know, in this house, we're prepared in case we need to. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, like I always have gum on me. I'm because if I don't have gum, then I will crack my teeth.
Yes, Mr. Live Producer, good shoes, comfortable shoes, broken in. Bring an extra pair of socks if you can, because you never know if they're going to get wet or if you're going to wear a hole in them. Tav says a good point. Theft from vendors can be a real thing. So if you see something, say something if you are comfortable doing so. Again, try and be conscious and aware. And everyone, not everyone, but so many people are so caught up in, I am seeing friends, there's this thing I want. Like they are in their own little world, in their own little bubble, and they are oblivious. So if you can be extra not oblivious, you will be helping out so many people around you. Oh yes, this was the thing I was going to say. I specifically bought an extra, like it's a little mesh bag that folds up into nothing. Extra bags, because you're going to buy stuff. Not everything's going to fit into your suitcase. If you can throw an extra shopping bag in your suitcase, that's going to save you a lot of stress, because they will give you a bag. It'll be either paper or a plastic handle. I can almost guarantee you it's going to break. It always breaks. So just have an extra. Lady Luck says a plastic bag or other small container that can easily hold business cards, etc., so you don't misplace. Yes, I run around with a shoulder bag that has, it's my Mary Poppins bag. I can fit so much in that bag. Hey, Kato, we are just wrapping up. We are talking about surviving conventions. If you have any tips. But go drive, Kato. But yes, so I think those are the big ones. Again, keep an eye out for lounges. Keep an eye out for panels where you can sit in. Keep an eye out for, at PAX Unplugged, there is a whole, half the convention floor is just places where you can go play card or board games. And if you need a sit, that's a great place. Yeah, tote bags, if you have a good amount of runtime before you even get a few from Vistaprint with your logo. Yeah, not quite time for that for PAX Unplugged, but yes, it's great to be able to have tote bags to help you. Oh, one more reminder. If you get stickers, so for those of you who do not know, most convention centers do not allow you to distribute stickers. People still do. If you're given a really cool sticker, especially if it has a very identifiable logo or a website on it or a QR code, do not stick that anywhere within the convention center. They will track down the maker of that sticker and they will find them. I'm not saying find, they probably will find them, but they will also find them. Your friend will have to pay cash money because you stuck their cool sticker somewhere it wasn't supposed to be. So be respectful of property and your friends. Yes, always be drinking water. Herb says the enforcers are there to help you. If you need help finding something, knowing where an area is okay for eating, gaming, which stairs to take, etc., please ask them. They will help you or point you to someone who can. I believe Rex is being an enforcer again, so look for your friendly neighborhood Rex and his crew. Yes, usually most convention centers do not allow stickers. Ezekiel, it's very sad. Big parties are overrated, says Kato. Indie parties are best most of the time. Don't disagree. Though I did go to some really cool parties at Servios. Those were bananas. Treat stuff people give you with respect. It feels terrible to see your business card randomly thrown on the floor. Tell Rex how awesome they were. Yes, always tell Rex how awesome he is. The closer the food place, the more busy it will be. Walk a little bit further and you'll get faster service.
in the list of bags that you are bringing, bring like a little Ziploc, even like a sandwich bag, because you're going to get cards and like little QR codes and all sorts of like little things from a bunch of different places, and having a place to put it inside your bag where it's all like together, so that when you get home, you'd be like, this is where you will always find gum, an inhaler, a Ziploc bag, and paper towels in my go bag, no matter where I am, at all times, because they are always 100% useful.
And yes, I believe. Ezekiel says, "Pray to God you can hold your number 1 and number 2 because the toilets are general bowels of hell." Not as bad at PAX Unplugged, I have to say. At least that's not as bad. But yes, yeah. Oh, glasses wipes. That's a good call. And again, extra chargers, batteries. I literally, before this stream, plugged in my portable charger, so I could just have that. And again, I'm going to go back to my earliest and number 1 tip. If you're traveling, especially if you are sharing a hotel room with other folks, pack an extension or a power strip.
Yep.
Just a couple extra plugs are going to save you so much. Listen to your body. If you need to sit. Never drink was given to you if it was opened. I don't care who gave it to you. Yeah, portable batteries are
like if you don't want to spring the $20-30 for like the 20,000 milliamp ones, like at least get like one of the $12 like lipstick size ones. Not sponsored, but I highly recommend Anchor. I've bought maybe like a dozen portable batteries since like the pandemic, and the reason they keep going away is not because they die, but because I give them to my friends. And the best ones have always been the Anchor ones.
Yeah, I will say I was working E3 the year they were demoing Dying Light 2, and I went to the demo and I was getting ready to leave, and they're like, "Here's your swag bag," and it was like one of those like one shoulder backpacks, like an actual backpack, but went across. And I'm like, ugh. And like, if you've worked E3, it's a lot of running. It's a lot of, it's cold, it's hot, it's cold, it's hot. So like the idea of having another bag that's physically on my body was like, nah. And I kind of flipped it open to see if I was going to like offload it to someone. And inside it was a portable battery fully charged.
Yep.
Dying Light is an incredible game, y'all. I haven't played Dying Light 2. I've only played the E3 demo, but Dying Light 2 is a great game because they gave me a fully charged battery. Whew.
And like, I have made friends, like full on made friends with people by like looking over at someone who's actively sweating because their thing is dying, and then I reach into my bag and I pull out a cable and hand it to them. And they're like, and I'm like, USB-C, micro USB, iPhone, like let me know what you, and they're like, and then they tell me, and I'm just like,
Ook.
And they don't even see the battery. They just like, sweet juice for my battery. My battery's inside juices are filling.
Yes, E3 is absolutely a whole thing. Yes, Kato, taking a small break and doing something local that isn't related to the convention can be very refreshing mentally. And generally, art gallery, bike tour, food, etc. Oh, congratulations on your funding, Ezekiel. Will we see Dungeon Roombas?
Oh, that is awesome.
We are so happy. So happy for you.
And to private investors who made this happen, thank you.
Yes. But yes, depending upon your travel, yeah. So I'm, Tavernas says if you're traveling long distances, fly in the day before, leave the day after. I'm hopping a train, so it's easier for me. David is having some technical issues. Yeah, it'll be chilly in Philly, but there is a holiday market near the convention center. I do believe that PAX Unplugged has a coat check if you are the kind who is very cold outside but very warm inside. But I do think they charge for that too. Bringing cash is always good. Most places will take Stripe or whatever, but bring cash. Bring you some cash, and it can change things. We did talk about if you are at the bar, tip your bartender. Tip your bartender. Layers are your friend. And yeah, help out your friends, check in, figure out who you're going with. Cash is handy. It's also great for limiting your con spending. I have absolutely done that. Especially if you know that you're the kind who's going to be buying things while you're there, you might take a slightly bigger suitcase than you need because you might be filling it with stuff. But yes, any final thoughts, David?
There's always some specific thing that each individual person needs, whether it's like gum and antihistamines for me, or a taser for Kay because people get too excited. There's a thing that you need. It could be earplugs, it could be glass wipes. Put that in your bag first. Just put that in your bag first. If you're going to PAX, go put it in a bag right now. And also expect to lose something.
Yeah.
Like, I've been very lucky, but everybody I know has been like, oh, well, that blank that I needed just gone.
I've had people steal cosplay props and earrings from me.
What?
My Jack Harkness earpiece was stolen in a bathroom.
I hope something unfortunate. I hope they have stepped on multiple Legos in this time.
It was really cool. It lit up. It was awesome. But yes, check the tipping culture where you're going if you're going to a different country, because we here in the US of A, we are a tipping culture. Kato says you can't do everything. Prioritize what is most important. And I have absolutely had days at conventions where I'm supposed to go to a party and I'm like, you know what? Home, because the thing I need to do tomorrow is more important. US does not include sales tax in the price, correct? Yeah, remember, be supportive of your friends and the people you admire who are there. And if they don't want to drink, or they want to head to bed early, or they can't make it to an early breakfast or brunch, support them in that, because life is hard. We're all tired. Be kind to each other. Hotel tax is a thing as well. Yes. So, with that, all of the great tips and advice, thank you so much, chat, for hanging out. Thank you, Herb, for the raid. Thank you, Cypher, for the subscription. Lady Luck, thank you for following. Thank you for the redeems and just a great little chat. Hide your badge in public. That is, I have absolutely had badges pop off and be gone missing. I know Kate mentioned this, cash, for two great reasons. One, the Wi-Fi is down, cards won't work. And two, a lot of vendors will cut you a small deal if you pay in cash because they don't have to pay the tax on that. Kato has seen them scissor badges off of people's necks.
Yep.
Oh.
That happens at Comic-Con.
I can't wait to see so many of you at PAX Unplugged. Again, you can see me tomorrow right before the convention. I'm going to be playing Pathfinder 2e over at Goblin Cave TV. David is going to be streaming Friday. If you are not attending, you can see one of my panels, Double Bubble Toil and Trouble, Tarot Cards in TTRPG. That's going to be in Mothman Theater, and that is the PAX 2 streaming channel. If you would like to peek in, Herb is going to be there. Cypher is going to be there. Rex is going to be there. Chris is going to be there. Who else? So many. Gosh, so many. I am unprepared for how many people will be there. If you see me, please do not hesitate to say hello. I will have goodie survival bags. I will be Mallory will be there. I'm going to be traveling with probably in a large pack with Candace, Mallory, Piper, and more, as well as my friends from the Emergency Power podcast. A bunch of them are going to be out. I cannot wait to meet you, see you again, introduce you. So many cool things are going to be happening. So many panels. You will not be able to see them all, and that's okay. Do what you are able to, and we will see you back here next Tuesday. We will likely be talking about maybe
PAX.
David wants me to cancel, but I want to talk about PAX.
Well,
I'm sure I'm still going to be riding that high.
Yeah, if K is my complaint, my concern is K is going to be tired from PAX. But if K is good to go, then we are good to go.
So remember, be kind to yourself, be excellent to others. Save the date for December 17th because we're going to be doing a thing, and it's going to be great. Thank you all again. It is always a joy to come here and share these conversations, and I can't wait to see so many of your faces with my face, like in the same thing. So travel safe, and we will see you soon.
Who are we rating?
Oh, good question. We could do Bronze or Xander.
Bronze it is.
Bronze it is. Who will also be there.
All right. But yeah. Bye.
Bye, y'all.